to Georgie's Gun Dogs at Trails for Tails Dog Training. Oh, you can move it late. On an angle, aren't I? Bloody yeah, I'll keep that in anyway. You can see me trying to sort the angle out on the camera. Anyway, hello everybody, how have you been? Welcome new subscribers, and hello my regulars. It's been a while since I posted on here. Been away, been really busy with work, so I've struggled doing some videos, but I wanted to do this video because of an experience I had while I was at Cape Thorne over the weekend, which is the big prestigious kennel club working test event. Absolutely fantastic, run really well, and I also helped again last year, and I helped this year in the opens. So why I'm doing this video is to discuss, I was in an office on Saturday, and to say it went wrong, it went massively wrong. And I like to be honest, you know, us trainers have journeys, us trainers have moments where we can hit hard, and it doesn't matter how much we think we've trained things, sometimes things can go AWOL. But this video is what went wrong, why it went wrong, and what am I going to do? Because a lot of you, and obviously all my clients, always ask me when these moments go wrong, and they can be really big moments or little moments, and I will give you an explanation. But I want you to also hear that sometimes with us it can go horribly wrong as well. I mean, to say mine went wrong, it was like I'd not even trained my dog before, right? It was that bad. And I will describe a little bit of what went wrong. You know, I like to be honest with people, because at the end of the day, our dogs aren't robots. I might be a trainer, but there have been times, for some reason I seem to attract challenging dogs. Bar Jimmy. Say that now, touch wood. But to be fair, I like a challenging dog because it bloody well teaches me. If everything was easy, it would not teach me anything. Even as a trainer, I'm still always learning. You know, no trainer knows everything. You can learn from others. You learn through your own dogs. Like my dogs, every dog I've had come through me has needed something different. And I want to talk about my experience on Saturday, because I learned a lot through despair. I learned a lot of clarity, and also things that I reflected on after it, that I understand now why things went so wrong, to be honest. So, and this is what I want you to do when you're having them problems. Let's say from simple things with lead work, or some other massive things of your dog takes career of 5 fields away, and A, B and C, and all these experiences. I mean, God, the stories I could tell you about Barry, jeez. So why I think I've come over quite quickly and not let it get to me so much is because my other dog taught me so much resilience, because my God, did he like to show you every way. But I turned that dog around. So what happened is leading up to Cape Thorne, about a week before, I was away abroad. I've never left him before. I've never left these two before particularly. My terriers have been left and Barry had been left, but I've never left these. They're always with me, right? But leading up to it, there were a couple of things in training. Sometimes even me as a trainer, when you're training your own dog, it's probably the most challenging, because you are in the moment. So when I'm watching people, it's a lot easier. So I also have people who train me to watch me and think what's going wrong. So I would say there was a couple of things that were going a bit pear-shaped with Sid. And I was thinking, what is going on? What is going on here? So I had to hit hard basically on Saturday to really think about the whole picture of what Sid's doing, from the car to training to everything. I had to, just made me go over everything, not just what went wrong in the test, but what could have led up to such an explosion of things going wrong for a dog that, reality is, of every element in that test he could have done. He has trained for every single element. He has done every single element. So I went, what the heck? It was like the odd thing he has done in training. You think, right, well, that could be A, B and C. But the fact it was such a big explosion, it was like something's gone thing. So the first thing I'm going to take into account, so let's talk about what went wrong. Okay, so luckily I knew the judges, so they were lovely with me. I've also got a good sense of humour. Don't say I had a good sense of humour after the test had finished, because I burst into tears. And I'm going to be honest, I did. Because when you put so much work into a dog, when you put some time, and it's your life, it's your passion, when you have something go horribly wrong like that, it can be a real smack in the face. And it was. And I'm not going to lie, I had to go off and just take 10 minutes. You know, luckily I knew some of the other competitors in there. They also, and I knew everybody around it, because I know a lot of them. I train with a lot of them, so they were all fantastic. Got the support. Even one of my clients was actually there to watch, and he gave me a big hug. Shout out to him, and my other one. And the support was lovely, and I think that's what picked me up. You know, that I had such a good team around me, such a good support. But it's still, in that moment, you feel embarrassed, you feel ashamed, you feel like, oh my God, a bit of imposter syndrome. Let's not face it, as trainers, we definitely do. So I went through all that emotion. So what happened is he was actually quite calm that morning. So usually when he sometimes come into test, he can be a little bit riled, but he's not too bad. I took him out in the morning, just kept it light, played with him, worked on a couple of things, thought actually he's not in a bad headspace. I looked at the ground, thought there's a possibility with water there, that needs work, and I knew that, but I thought no, because I was on the left. But I knew what was coming up. So I knew what was coming up first was the flush to a pigeon out of box. Now, he's never actually had that training situation of a pigeon and a flush of a pigeon come out of the flushing machine. He's done flushing machines with, let's say, dummies and stuff, and birds he does not chase, right? He'll put a bird up and he'll turn off it. But what happened in that situation, I lost my nerve, so I hunted him up, kicked off knife, no noise. He had no noise in the test, which for me is like massive, because some of the dogs did. So, you know, I'll take that as a win in its first place. But so we kicked off hunting, watching him, thought, oh God, here we come to think. I lost my nerve, I think. And do you know why, in reflection, I lost my nerve, which I'll talk in more detail after, is because I wasn't 100% confident. And if I'm not 100% confident, that means my dog will not be. So, because we actually had a bad leading up to it, which is when we'll get to the why coming to it. So, sat him up. Neil says to me, the judge goes, all right, George, what you're going to do is going to be bird go. He's got to watch the bird go away, and then we'll carry on hunting. I thought, right, well, I can say leave that. He's usually really strong on his leave that. But my nerves went. I don't know what, like I said, I think I wasn't 100% with him. And I watched his body language, because that's why I think my nerves went, because he was so... Because what he did, it wasn't to chase the bird, right? The bird went, Sid watched it go, but then I seen this. When he does that, I know there might be a possibility he's going to go in. So I went, leave that, and then I don't know why I put my stop on. I never do that. I never do that. Well, boom, gone. Straight into the water. And what he was doing, not to chase it, he was looking for the bird, because he's seen because we had like replica guns go. He's seen that, and all he was doing was looking to pick it. But obviously in a test, you can't. My recall went out. I'm not going to lie, guys. My recall went out. So I was like, right, okay. Walked over. I thought, I'm not going to mess about. I'm not putting another recall pull on. No point, right? Because he hadn't come on straight back. Because he was so like, no, Mum, I'm going to get, there's a bird there. I need to get it. Anyway, get to the water's edge, take him out, put him on the lead, bring him in. Neil said, right, cast off again. I thought, right, well, I'm out now anyway, whatever. So I thought I'll relax up a bit. He's usually good at this next spot, which would have been mark over the jump. Dummy went, then 2 shots were fired. But he marked the shot behind and the second shot, so he assumed that way. But it doesn't matter, he assumed that way. He should have took my line, and he didn't take my line. He went the other way. And again, he was looking for things. So I just went, sod this, I'm going to go and get him. So I put him on. Then we swapped over to judges. I had to have him, hunted him up, sat him on shot for the other dog while they were going for their blind. And to be fair to him, on every shot he sat and he didn't move. I didn't need my whistle, I didn't need any of that. He sat to it. So I'm going to take that little moment, right? So he sat there for quite a while. Anyway, next minute it was my turn to go. Hunt on, stop again, blind forwards. And he didn't take the line, and he went round. And instead of picking the blind, there was a Bolton rabbit later, further down the line. He picked the Bolton rabbit. But he did deliver it. He brought it straight back. So in that moment, I knew in that moment, he was trying to look for things to bring to me. So I can't complain at that. Said, not how I wanted it to go, wrong thing to pick. It is what it is. So, carry on. Wanted to get him to do the Bolton rabbit. He was iffy at his heel work, which I wasn't happy about. And we got there, and I could just see his head gone. And Nat said to me, because she knows me well, Nat, she went, you know what, let's stop. And I totally agreed. I went, yeah, do you know what? I don't want to ruin any more. His head's gone. put the lead on, off I went, burst into tears. Is what it is, right? Anyway, on reflection, let's say why did that happen, okay? And don't get me wrong, when I left that moment, and everybody knows my dog there, everybody knows, everyone's gone, I've never seen him like do that. Like, you know, he's had his teenage moments, but he's never been that, right? Because all them elements we are training for. But why did it happen? So a week previously, I had gone away. Sid had never left. What, number one, he'd been left. So I think all that week leading up to the test, he was ragging me. He was pulling me around a little bit. He was just all over the show. And on reflection, I should have pulled him out and sodded it and gone, you know what? We're not having a good week. Let's stop. Because that's probably why my confidence wasn't there, because we weren't having a good week. And I should have saved us both the grief and brought us out. But sometimes you don't think. Sometimes you think maybe the dog will just turn up on the day, because sometimes they do. You can have a terrible week and all of a sudden they go, because he's done that before. We've had a bad week, he's come out and things. So there we go. 2, I realised that while working for these tests, I have let other areas slide. Right? So simple things of, he comes out the car, he never dives out. They never do. They never dive out the dark. They come out when called. But even going into my field, I've allowed him to go, right, sod it. Because my mind has been on, oh my God, I need to work on hunting. Oh my God, I need to work on this. Oh my God, I need to work on that, right? And this is what we do in training. Sometimes when you get quite advanced with a dog, you work too much on the advance and you forget this. And I bang on about it. So I'm annoyed at myself, guys. Don't you worry. So, foundations. Anyway, so I let him go. I've just let him come out of the car. He's there. I've gone, right, go. Let him just run off through the fence, through the gate, into the field. Do what they got to do. And in between training exercise, I haven't got him to heel. I haven't. Even though majority of the time he walks with me, sometimes I've just gone, off you go, just to give him a break. Because I've been thinking so much on all the other areas that I need for these tests that I forgot the fundamentals in between. Right? Fundamentals in between the exercises. The ones that teach the dog actually, no, I don't just bog, like, no, I just don't go off. No, I don't just, right, we might have finished, but I'm going to walk with you. Yeah, I'm going to walk with you. Yeah, I'm going to walk with you. Because actually, if I allow, go off here, go off there, okay, the heel, because even my heel work on my lead's not been that great recently, but I've been so fundamentally trying to get to where I need to hunt, I've let it slide, right? And it's consistency and it's not fair on the dog. And I haven't been fair on Sid, right? So in reflection to that, I have gone, this is why he's going A, B and C, because I allow some things, but I don't allow other. So what does he know? He don't know what's coming or going, the poor dog, right? He's like, well, you allow that, so why can't I do that? And even simple things like the stop, right? When he stopped, stop whistle, or he stopped for something, or even being steady to a throw. I used to every time go in and pay my dog, and it was, John Belly reminded me this, because we were talking about people's stopping skills and the test. I remember when he was young, and I'd do it with Jimmy, I'd go in every time, pay. Even if I throw something, I'd go in and pay. And he used to be so goddamn steady, that dog. I'd be like, steady as a rock. And recently it's been 80% steady, and sometimes like, what the hell is going on? And reflection is, in the past 6 months, for some reason, because I've been working on the other side, I stopped paying in between. So he's assuming, and he's building an arousal, I'm going to go. And then I send him. So sometimes he's like, oh, sod it, gone. Instead of me coming in, breaking it down basically to him, paying him. So he goes, I might not be going yet. She's just like, it's, you're just decompressing him in that moment. So then he's gone back, you're resetting up. So by that time, the dog's calmer. They'll be more steady, because he used to be like, yeah, I can sit there, where his arousal's gone up. So on reflection, I have missed little details, so worried about the bigger picture, which is what we all do. And see, I'm a human by nature as a trainer. I am a human, I am a trainer. But sometimes when you're training everybody else's dog, plus you're trying to run your own dog, you forget these fundamentals of being consistent in these other areas. So this is why led to that absolute hit me to the floor like a smack in the face. That's what happened. All these little details creeped upon me in that moment, as well as, yes, he'd been away and not decompressed as well. I should have not put him in after going on. I should have looked and gone, no, can't put him in. He ain't going to be right after it, because it can take dogs up to six days to come down off cortisone. Not that he doesn't enjoy where he went. He loves it. You know, it's his one of, you know, he loves that person who he stayed with. But it was a change of routine. And I always say to people, give them time to settle after change room. But I was so fixated on the test, I did I? And then I come back and I go right with him, and in between he's just gone. Rah! That's what happened. That's what's happened. So what am I going to do about it? I'll never do. What I'm not going to say is I will never let that creep in again like that. Okay, definitely not. Because I remember this. I had a moment like this with Barry. Actually, sometimes I was fixating again on other things, and we all do it. And that's what I'm saying to even as trainers. But what I'm going to do is make sure my muscle memory, my behaviour, my habits, my consistency become part of my picture, and for him. So basically today, from day one today, we've come in and we've just worked on lead work. So I am going back to basics with him. I don't care. Go back to basics. I'm going to drill in little routines that we do, because I want him to literally be with me. Because if I've got to, especially at competition level, that dog has got to literally be waiting for everything you're asking it to do. And that's the reality of it, right? It has to be going, I'm not doing anything until you give me A, B or C instruction. And that's what we've been working on. Because the reality is, actually, Jimmy, somebody said to me, I should have brought Jimmy in, right? Because Jimmy probably would have. You know, he's not done all the elements. He probably would have. But I am probably more consistent with Jimmy than I have been with Sid. Probably thinking, in the moment when things have gone wrong with Sid, I've been going, I'll make sure Jimmy doesn't do that. Why didn't I go back and do it with Sid in these past 6 months leading up to these tests? Because I was fixated on the exercises. We all do it. And all the good trainers will tell you they've done it before, right? So I'm going to go back, and this week today, he is going back from every little detail that I do with him. Even walking to the car this morning from the house, sometimes I usually let, because my car's right near my back gate, and I'm like, right, just go to the car. And they will. But they can still stop on the way and have a wee and all that, right? So no, you know, I'm not saying they can't do all that. They will do. But I had them on lead. We walked nicely to the car, in one by one, shut the gates, took them to work, okay? And you know what? They were better when they came out. When I came to the car with Sid, I had rules coming out. No more rushing through the gate. No more rushing at his brother. Nothing like that. Because that's another thing, sometimes he would rush at his brother when he comes out. Now, I'm not having that anyway. I was pulling that in anyway. But I'd give him throw a ball for him instead, so he'd do that instead. But the reality is, he's still learning to fire forward. So I went, right, Jimmy's going in first. Sid was on lead. Jimmy was on lead. Walked him nice and calmly through the gate. Sat first. Then we walked through. Nice and calm. And by the time they come in, sat them up, leads off. Didn't release them till given the instruction to. Then when they went off, they were so much more calmer for doing it, right? Better headspace, better learning, stronger dog, better dog, more consistent. And I know that because I bang on about it. But I didn't do it myself, did I, in that moment? And that's what exploded, these little detail bits. So what I've been doing now, and what I will carry on to doing, and this is what you guys have got to look at, is don't always, especially them who are on the bigger stuff, look at your other areas. What have you maybe let slid that might be leading to your other areas, and your big, what's going? Because I always say, if you haven't got your foundations, it fall apart out of the big stuff. And that is what happened to me. I should have took my own excuse me French, at my own advice, right? But unfortunately, like anything with all of us, life gets in the way. Busy with clients, busy trying to think of other things, and in them, I just need to get A to B. In that A to B though, I wasn't consistent. I might have got to A to B and carried on at B. Or let's say to C and I missed B. In between all that, there needs to be rules, there needs to be structure for that dog to succeed. Because by the time he gets the hunting, if I'm allowing that pulling or not 100% lead, or I'm all over the place and I've not settled him or whatever, and I know this, I bang on about it, he ain't going to do well because his head's up there, right? So from now on, you've got to look at all your pictures, just have a look, reflect, go, what is that, what's gone on? Why could I do? And that's what I did. I sat back and I felt really good going back the day after anyway in the opens. And not a lot of people, I would say, would do that. I'm a resilient by nature. I'm determined. And it's like, I don't give up, and not when I've got a talented dog, because Sid is seriously talented in every element of that. That's what I think upset me, was he could have smashed that out the park, because that dog, from hunting to retrieving, is driven. He's solid, he's driven, and he loves it. And I, as a handler, let him down, and that's my reflection, because of not being clear and consistent with him in other areas where I'm trying to be with the big things, and I forgot about my fundamentals, and it smacked me in the face. So remember, when you're looking at these what, whys and why, how, when you're looking at the what, reflect, sit back, what happened, break it all down in your head, then go, why might have it happened, then reflect on what led up to it, what's gone in training, what have you allowed, what have you not allowed, what has creeped in. Then how are you going to deal with it? So like I'm doing, going back to basics, and everything I do, even when we do to training groups, we do the more advanced stuff, every time that dog stops, every time he does something, I'll be in there rewarding him, sit there, breaking it up, every element. I'm not looking for the wham bam thank you man anymore. Every little stage you'll get feedback on. Every little stage, even in between, he's going to be walking with me. We're not just going to go, right, it's fine, you can go off a minute, have a whatever. No, he's going to be walking with me in between. So he is on, because he needs that. He does like that, because he's such a powerful dog. He wants that structure. And when you give him his head, if you let him go off to it, he loses his head. So, and today, just doing the heel work stuff, on and off lead, that's all I did today. Jimmy did some other stuff. And he did a bit of that, but he was doing some other stuff, because Jimmy's coming on nice because I'm more consistent with him, right? So with Sid, but Sid has been calm all morning, absolute little star, because I've been so clear in my criteria, and he has come out with a better headspace. So what I'm saying, guys, is in your training, and I want you to hear it from us trainers, because I think those who don't admit the truth or see the truth are not being fair to the client. You've got to see us go on our journey, because I always say to people, it's never straightforward, even for the experienced handler. It's not, and it hasn't been for me. And I got taught a valuable lesson on Saturday about my own fixating on other things and missing the others, which I always tell to people, right? Because the ones who, the reality is, when Sid has done well, it's when I've been consistent, okay? And you see it with those who are consistently there at the top. They are consistent with it, and I, stupidly through other stuff, have allowed that little elements to creep in. So have a look, guys, and that's my truth, and I will try and get some more training videos. So I hope you enjoy hearing the what's, whys and how to deal with it, but just break it down, little sessions, why, what, how. Break it down, make sure you're consistent in the boring stuff, the doing nothing stuff, the leading up to the exercise, the walking around, the sit stays, all these things in between, and make sure you give feedback all the way to that dog. You don't need to have a go at a dog to get this sorted. You need to be consistent. So have a look at every element, all right? Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I wanted an honest one. And like I said, Cape Thorne was run fantastic. The judges were Neil Satchell and Natalie Cannon, awesome judges. John Bailey and Royal Show run the Spaniel test, set it all up, absolutely fantastic. And all the guys around who I know, awesome team. We had such a crack over the week, and don't matter how things hit the fan. Saturday on the Open, and to be fair, only 4 dogs actually in the novice, and I think it was 6 in the Open completed, because it's meant to be the best of the best, and it's hard. There's a lot of elements to it, so not all. Some dogs didn't even make it all the way down the course. They were out, so it was really tough. It was great fun. Really enjoyed it, as I always do. I'll be back there helping again next year, and I will be going back and competing again there next year, because I'm not one to be defeated. But it was brilliant. So yeah, as my experience, I wanted you to have a chat, because I know a lot of you ask me what goes wrong and why. So I hope you enjoyed this little video of a bit of a talk about things and makes you think about your own training. Please, you can leave comments all you like. It was good to see you guys. All right, see you later. Bye.